a hall for abandoning a grieving friend after she tried to charge me rent? My friend is a recent widow. It's been a long time coming, but that hardly makes it easier. Her husband passed away at the end of February, and she has been understandably distraught since. I have tried my best to support her through this, even though I can't possibly understand what she's going through. At the beginning of March, she asked me if I'd stay over during the night because she couldn't stand sleeping alone in an empty house. I obliged and temporarily moved in once I was sure my husband was okay with it. She's not been taking care of herself, so I have been doing 100% of the household chores and taking care of her and all her responsibilities as well as working full-time. Well, last week she springs on me how much she'll be expecting in rent from here on out. She heavily implied I was taking advantage of her in her grief, trying to live in her house for free, and that she expects me to back pay her rent for the 2 months I'd already been there. I was extremely insulted by this and told her I'd transfer her the money she wanted, but I would be moving back to my own house, where I am also paying rent. I got my stuff and was out within a couple of hours. She has since asked me to come back, but I have refused. I told her I'd still do her shopping and I'll come over to help her with a few bits, but I'm not spending another night in that house. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You didn't want to pay rent, so you went back to your own house. I think she's a bit of an a-hole asking you to come and stay with her, and then asking you to pay money. I think you've set some healthy boundaries to avoid the situation occurring again. Told her I'd transfer her the money she wanted. Opie, did you actually pay this rent? If not, don't. If you did, what and why? I did. I don't know why. It was just easier. The easiest is to do nothing at all. It conserves the most energy and, in your case, money. In the future, think about this in economic terms. It cost you fake rent from a fake friend to keep you from having an unpleasant confrontation. That turned out to be what you were trying to avoid anyway. Getting angry is okay, OP. It doesn't mean you're not a nice or good person. Don't let people walk over you. Please consider this as an expensive lesson. It's okay, and completely free, to say, lol, no, to outrageous, outlandish, and categorically ridiculous demands of your money. Practice saying it so you can spit it out with gleeful ease the next time. Not the whole. WTF? Taking advantage? You already have a place. What did you get out of it? I thought I was being a good friend. You were. I meant in terms of owing her rent money like she was doing something that was a favor to you. I don't know. She has very rigid ideas of when something is owed to her. You stay long-term equals you pay rent. Context be damned, I guess. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole telling my sister to stay somewhere else after she embarrassed me with my neighbors? I'm 31 male, lived at the same home for 2 years, and I'm very friendly with my neighbors. They're nice people. Married couple in their late 40s with one 10-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. Every weekend since I've lived there, they like to have a small get-together with their family. Not a big party, but they do grill out on their porch, play music, and chat. It's never more than 10 people. Honestly, it never bothered me. Music is always off by 10 p.m. and they don't get rowdy. My family isn't close like that, so it actually feels nice they do it every weekend. And sometimes they've invited me over for a burger. Like I said, nice people. My sister, 27 female, is having problems with her boyfriend, and she doesn't want to stay at their place right now, so here she is. The past month, she complained about my neighbors and how annoying they are. She doesn't know how I stand it, and I should tell them something. But I've literally got no problem with it. And I told her they're not doing anything bad. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was approached by the husband, and he apologized for being so rude. Had no idea what he was talking about. He said my wife complained to him about their loud music the other weekend, and me and her both have gotten extremely annoyed by it. She threatened to call the police if they kept this up because they are disturbing the peace. I was pretty red from both anger and embarrassment. So I explained to him that I have no problems with that and she's my sister, not my wife. Apparently she said that so they'd take her seriously as the owner of the house. My sister refused to apologize and said she absolutely would call the police because they need to learn to not be annoying with their music. So that's when I told her to look somewhere else to stay if she's going to cause problems with my neighbors. Right now, she's couch surfing between friends, and my family's pissed that I was willing to kick her out of my home over issues with my neighbors. My parents are far, so of course they can't take her. And because I'm the only person close to her, they feel like I'm not being a very good brother for caring more about this than my sister having somewhere to stay. I feel like I'm in a way justified in not wanting her to create problems between our houses, but at the same time, yeah, she doesn't have a place to stay right now. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She can find somewhere else to stay. Buy your neighbors a crate of beer and tell them to party on. Good neighbors should be cherished. They don't drink, but yeah, I was thinking of getting a gift of some sort to apologize. They barbecue. Maybe throw some meat/grill-friendly veg their way. Apology steak works wonders. Not the a-hole. Do not allow her toxicity to continue in your own space. Your voice and choice should be more important than those of your visitors. 1. She had a sense of entitlement in a place that is not even her property. 2. She gave a false impression to others that she is the owner of your house in order to assert a fake right. 3. She created a rift between you and your nice neighbors by threatening them. 4. She did all of these signs of disrespect behind your back and without your permission. 5. She was not apologetic when you confronted her. She has no regrets. You are supposed to feel comfortable in your own house with your own rules, not with the visitors. And when he told her that wasn't acceptable, she doubled down and threatened to still call the police next time. Beyond entitled. No wonder she's having problems with her boyfriend. Not the a-hole, by the way. Can't live with her boyfriend, can't live next to nice neighbors, won't apologize to her brother who is giving her free accommodation, and yet it's Opie's fault she's homeless? That's some twisted logic the parents have going on. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin to move out? I, 27 female, own my house. I also have a 9-month-old puppy and a 3-month-old puppy. The younger one is obviously not fully housebroken. My cousin, mom, and brother all live with me. I've been having a hard time with the fact I'm the only one cleaning anything in the house, including the bathroom I don't use since I have my own in my room. Anyway, yesterday morning I wake up to a note from my cousin on the kitchen table saying the dogs are to be crated every time I leave the house and every time I go to sleep. My dogs free roam and I own the house. I'm not gonna be told what to do with my dogs, and they also are in my room with me all night with the door closed. I also woke up to my dogs having busted open a bag of confectionery sugar all over the couch because my cousin forgot to close the pantry door. This was done when I was getting ready for work. This is a constant fight with him. I tell him to close the bathroom door constantly so the dogs don't get to the trash or toilet paper. Everyone else in the house can remember, but he can't. He was also mad the younger puppy had an accident in the house. When he woke up, I told him my dogs will not be crated. The younger puppy's 3 months old and not fully potty trained yet, and the accidents are becoming less frequent. I told him it was his fault he left the pantry door wide open, just like I have to clean up the mess in the bathroom every day when he doesn't close the door. I also told him that I said no D's in my house, and my older puppy found a heroin needle, and I stopped her from chewing it, and thank God it was still capped and empty. I'm home all day with my dog since I work from home, but it's a call center environment and I can't get up from my desk. I told him he's being careless and potentially causing my dogs harm. He didn't like that and we got into a fight. Then I told him to leave. He said I was neglecting my dogs, which sets me off because my dogs are my children, and if he would just clean up after himself, it wouldn't be an issue. I told him before he complains about my dogs, he should learn to clean up after himself and stop leaving trash all over the kitchen for me to clean. He said he was moving out, so I said, fine, you can leave now since you're being so careless with the measures I put in place so the dogs don't make a mess and get into stuff that can hurt them. He called the police, and they said I have to evict him, but still ask him to leave. My mom said I could have handled it better, but I'm tired of being nice and asking politely when it obviously doesn't do anything. He was also mad I asked him to move his work equipment from my front patio for the millionth time because I said I don't want it there. It looks trashy. I'm just trying to keep my house inside and out clean and keep my dogs safe. Am I the a-hole for telling him to just get out? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Heads up, If he is doing substances, make sure he 1. Doesn't give the dogs any out of spite before he moves. 2. Doesn't leave them, then calls the cops and says you have substances in your house. I'd also have the locks changed once he fully is out. Thank you. Right now, he is staying with his mother, and the police told him not to come to my house with an additional party present for both of us. He is supposed to be renting a U-Haul and setting up a time to get all of his stuff out of my house. And I am most definitely changing the locks. Because even if I get the key back, there's no saying he didn't make a copy already. Just be careful. I'd put the dogs in your room locked if possible when he comes over. Then check everything before letting them out. I know it's a pain, but he could be vindictive against them. Not just you. Not today, Hull. I also told him that I said no substances in my house and my older puppy found an aged needle. Everything else in your post aside, that right there is more than enough reason to kick him the hell out. And the fact that he wrote you a note saying your dogs were to be created in your own house is sufficient on its own as well. Life is too short to deal with BS, people, family or not. Dude can find a new place to crash. That's what I told him. I told him he should have been kicked out right then and there. He's lucky he's had an additional few months. I'm tired of him disrespecting my house. Not today, Hull. It's your house. He isn't abiding by your rules and is trying to push you around in your own house? Get him out and make sure the door does hit him on the way out. That's what got me about the note. I was like, I'm not being told what to do in my house. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for assembling IKEA furniture in my apartment? So I, 21, lived in this apartment for 4 years with no issue at all. An old dude, Larry, moved in under our apartment like 6 months ago or maybe a bit more. At first, I had issues with him because I would be tanning outside in underwear. I didn't care if people could see me or I would have put on more clothes. But I felt extremely uncomfortable because Larry and his colleague, who is also old, 60-something, decided to move my items on my table and sit down in my chairs right next to me. They also talked about me as if I wasn't there and made random remarks. I can't stress enough how close they sat and how uncomfortable I was. There are multiple tables they could have sat at. I moved because it made me so uncomfortable and the colleague yelled rude things after me. Later, he's told me when I can and can't work out on my fitness mats because he has night shifts. The mat takes practically all the noise and I work out for like 50 to 60 minutes 3 times a week. Usually around 2 to 4 p.m., not 11 p.m. or 8 a.m. Now I'm assembling IKEA furniture in my room. It's like close to 4 p.m. now. I started at around 3 p.m. I've been as quiet as possible, but now I've come to the part where I have to hammer in nails. About 20 in total. Again, I try to be gentle, but it does go through the floor a bit. I have nowhere else to do this. If I did it outside, the furniture would get scratched up horribly. It's cheap. I've finished 8 nails, and now he's banging on his ceiling, which is my floor. But what else am I supposed to do? Have no furniture and put my plants etc. on the floor? It's not my fault he's hungover today. Am I the a-hole though? I'm having cold sweats because it makes me so uncomfortable, and him banging back makes me really worried he's gonna come up here and yell at me. I never really make noise though, and we've never had any complaints. Not the a-hole. If he expects zero noise where he lives, he shouldn't live in an apartment building. Your lease probably stipulates quiet hours. Generally, those are 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Pretty much. If Opie had to assemble the furniture at times when their neighbor is not sleeping, that might just as well end up overlapping with the quiet hours time frame. At that time, someone could actually even rightfully call the cops on them. Was I happy when someone was drilling holes in their walls at 2 p.m. while I was trying to sleep after a night shift at the hospital? Well, of course not. But all I could do about it was using some earplugs because people usually don't sleep at 2 p.m. Not the a-hole. You're doing it at a reasonable time of day and being as quiet as possible. Just finish it up and move on with your day. If he comes up to yell, then be firm but polite. I'm sorry I disturbed you. I do not need to assemble furniture often, but it is a necessary evil sometimes. Have a nice day. Thank you. It's really nice to have a response ready. Not the a-hole. Also, the behavior exhibited by him and his friend is super creepy. Is there anyone you can complain to about this? I'm very good friends with the landlord, and I'm actually headed to clean one of his other apartment complexes after this. My mom is a bit on the fence though. She wants everyone to get along. I'm guessing we'll see how the summer goes and then take action from there. Update. Thanks to everyone commenting. I was shaking and sweating when I wrote this post, but a lot of you helped calm me down. Sorry for the misunderstandings about the whole essay thing, or whatever we want to call it. While I was hammering, my mom went down to knock on his door and he made some BS excuse but backed off. She's also going to talk to our landlord next time she sees him because we were good friends with him, and I don't feel entirely safe. Mom got a tight hug. Thank you.